Live from KSAT 12, the 6 o'clock news starts right now.
Questions and more concern after reports of a second medical episode for Spurs head coach Greg Popovich.
That episode reportedly happening earlier this week as Coach Pop was said to have been out at a restaurant. KSAT Sports' Mary Rominger joining us now with more on what happened and when. Hi, Mary.
Hi. Yes, unfortunately, a new development on Greg Popovich, not one that we wanted to hear as he hopes to return to the NBA sideline. But this medical incident involving the NBA's winningest coach Greg Popovich is confirmed to have occurred on Tuesday around 8:30 in the evening. Popovich reportedly fainted while dining at a local restaurant, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse on Jones Maltzberger Road. Now, there is video that surfaced on social media said to be Popovich leaving the restaurant in an ambulance. San Antonio Fire Department told us they responded to the report of an elderly man who fainted at the table. The individual was transported as a precaution. Now, SAFD did not confirm that that man was Popovich. There's already good news, though, just days later. Popovich is home, stable, and doing fine, according to ESPN's Shams Charania. Now, this is all happening just months after Popovich battled a mild stroke in November, which kept him off of the sidelines for the rest of the season. It's not clear at this point if Popovich's medical episode is related to that stroke. We'll discuss this further coming up later in sports as Coach Pop's road to recovery and returning to the NBA sideline grows more complicated.
All right, Mary, thank you. New at 6, an update now on a Judson ISD coach arrested and accused of luring students. This is not the right video. We want to get you the right video here in a second. We are talking about a different case. A Judson ISD coach accused of luring students in exchange for gifts.
41-year-old Christopher Irvin was taken to jail yesterday. We learned he has bonded out of custody around 3 this afternoon. The story is not an isolated one. There have been 3 educators at other schools accused of similar criminal wrongdoing just this month. So we zoomed out to the bigger issue, the process of predators gaining victims' trust. It's called grooming.
And Courtney Friedman has reported on trafficking and child sexual assault for years now, and she called up a well-known survivor who was groomed herself. She says that parents can make a difference by educating their kids.
Carla Solomon, at the core, is a survivor
of child sex trafficking and adult commercial exploitation.
Hers was a severe case, but it started the way most child sexual abuse starts.
Grooming is when a predator is basically seeking out a victim to prey upon in many different ways. They make the child feel seen. They make them feel loved. They will eventually use different things like bribery or exploit their vulnerabilities.
People think it's not happening where my child lives. It's not happening in our schools.
It is. I will be the first to tell you, I've done work all over San Antonio and the surrounding Hill Country area. It's everywhere. What these predators do is they gain access wherever they can, whether that be at school, church.
This month, a perfect example. A former Judson ISD assistant coach was just arrested for allegedly luring students to send explicit images and messages in exchange for gifts. The charge? Grooming, a third-degree felony. Then at the beginning of the month, a Jubilee San Antonio teacher was arrested accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. In mid-April,
was it wrong? Yes, it was completely wrong.
This student says a McCollum High School coach had a sexual relationship with her. He's not been charged or arrested, but no longer works at the school. And lastly, a month ago, SAISD confirmed a teacher allegedly had a relationship with a former student. He wasn't arrested either, but is no longer with the district.
Like, this isn't a scare tactic, not trying to scare parents, because we can build resilient kids and educated kids.
And we can build kids that can look out for their peers and speak up.
Solomon trains DPS special agents, sits on the state's Human Trafficking Survivor Council, helps trafficking victims recover, and just wrote a book. But she says the most simple and important work happens at home.
And I don't want to say just one conversation with your kids about what's appropriate and what's inappropriate. This is an ongoing thing.
So if something feels off, kids will come forward before abuse even happens. Courtney Friedman, KSAT 12 News.
Carla Solomon, the survivor and consultant Courtney spoke with, shared some of the signs of grooming you can look for in a child. They include an unusually close connection with an older person, unexplained gifts, or money.
Plus, a change in social groups or isolating themselves, being secretive about their phone, the internet, or social media, as well as being dishonest about where they've been. We have this full list on KSAT.com.
Now to the latest on the San Antonio Mission's new downtown baseball park. We don't have the designs yet, but the Mission's downtown dreams have taken big strides toward becoming reality.
Yeah, the Mission's announced yesterday they had selected an architect for their new ballpark. Garrett Berger is at Wolf Stadium now, their current home, where he just had the opportunity to talk with one of the team's owners. Garrett.
Well, we appear to be in the final years of Wolf Stadium as the home to the San Antonio Missions. If all goes according to plan, the team hopes that they'll be opening up on opening day in 2028 at a new downtown ballpark. Now, this is going to be, this spot is along San Pedro Creek is where they're planning to put that stadium. With a city council vote last week, a joint city and county effort called the San Pedro Creek Development Authority has been created. That authority would own the stadium and is key to how the city, county, and team plan to finance much of this $160 million ballpark. Now, the team says it's moving forward with programming and design for the new stadium, which it says it needs in order to meet minimum facility standards put in place by MLB, standards that would be difficult to meet here at the Wolf.
We require a bulldozer, a lot of square footage requirements, and we decided that the best thing to do, the only thing to do really, was to create resource and fund a ballpark, build a ballpark that was great for the fans, that was state of the art, that would stand for generations to come.
The team still needs a final piece of property owned by San Antonio ISD. District trustees tentatively greenlit some broad terms of a deal 4 months ago, but that deal still not finalized. And the stadium has also been controversial because some of the team owners are also developers whose projects are tied to the stadium's funding plans, including demolishing a low-cost apartment complex. Now, the team's planning to play another home game tonight in just about an hour. Coming up at 10, you'll hear from fans about what they think about moving the team downtown. Live at Wolf Stadium, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Garrett. This Good Friday, a number of schools were out and some businesses were closed, and families were taking advantage of city parks. Last night, the park curfew was lifted for 8 city parks, allowing people to camp overnight. It's a long-standing San Antonio Easter tradition. You can see the yellow tape up, signaling which areas are already spoken for. Overnight camping will continue through the weekend until 11 p.m. on Easter Sunday.
But Shelby, tomorrow night, that could get a little dicey for people who are out in those parks camping. You're watching for some storms.
Yes, we are. We have a cold front coming through that's definitely going to allow temperatures to really start to feel cooler Sunday morning. Some areas can be waking up in those 50s. Our afternoon temperature only getting to those 70s. And that's that's after the front comes through. But then Saturday night into Sunday, like I mentioned, there is that chance of storms. Now, that lighter yellow color, that's that level 1 marginal risk for just regular garden variety thunderstorms. But that orange color, that's that level 2 risk. That's where we have a 5 to 15% chance, and where we're tracking the large hail, the gusting winds, and depending on how strong the system is, we also can have some isolated localized flooding because of these heavy downpours producing the winds and the hail. But coming up, I'll track all of this and what you need to know for your Easter weekend coming up in just a bit, guys.
Hundreds of people making their way downtown today to observe Good Friday, the day Jesus Christ was tried and crucified on the cross. Since 1983, crowds have followed the Via Dolorosa as it's been reenacted through the streets of San Antonio. This ends in front of San Fernando Cathedral, as you can see here. Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Sierra says the sacrifice given on Good Friday continues to encourage believers to keep the faith.
We don't get tired in searching, and the Lord will never tire of loving us and show us a way. And Good Friday is a very good way.
The Passion Play draws so many believers from different faiths as well. Following the reenactment, many took part in Mass.
Circle your calendars for just over a week from now. People are expected to line the banks of the San Antonio River for the 80th Texas Cavaliers River Parade.
Adam Caskey and I will be in the mix as well. We're hosting our KSAT coverage to bring you the parade wherever you happen to be. Today was what they call Barge In Day. That means all the barges that will be part of the parade were put in the water.
This year, we're told the parade will feature 60 barges, and now that they are in the water, crews from a New Orleans company is here to outfit them with all the decorations, lights, and special effects.
The River Parade Marshal says this event will not disappoint.
There's nothing more exciting than the start of Fiesta, and the Texas Cavalier River Parade is the best kickoff for the whole family to come down to the river and enjoy the start of Fiesta. It's great.
The 80th Texas Cavaliers River Parade will be Monday, April 28th. But if you can't make it downtown, we are airing the parade live right here on KSAT 12 beginning at 7 o'clock. And we're also streaming it on KSAT.com and the KSAT Plus app.
And Fiesta starts next Thursday, but Fiesta excitement is already in the air thanks to KSAT's Fiesta Medal giveaways. We've got another one happening tomorrow morning. Check out your screen. Texas Eats will be at Alamo Candy on Hildebrand Avenue near I-10. The line starts at 9 a.m. and the medals will be given away beginning at 10:35 a.m.
And the giveaways continue on Monday. Adam Caskey will be live for his very first Fiesta Medal giveaway. It's at Tia's Taco Hut on Southeast Military Drive near Brook City Base. That line will start at 4 o'clock. The giveaway itself starts at 6. Don't forget, for all things Fiesta, head to KSAT.com. KSAT is your official Fiesta station.
And taking a look outside at our TransGuide cameras, this is Interstate 35 at Alamo. As you can see, some sort of situation that has forced, looks like a wrecker and police to block off several lanes. Again, I-35 at Alamo. You see that car off on the shoulder. Some sort of traffic snarl on this Friday evening.
They come through us for polishing guys who do have that potential and talent, but just haven't been polished for TV, for pay-per-views.
There is a wide world of pro wrestling here in San Antonio, and some big names in the business are here in this city. It's what I found out when working on a new KSAT Explains, and I sat down with Ross and Marshall Von Erich along the way. Yes, those Von Erichs of generational pro wrestling fame.
You know, Dad always spoke so highly of San Antonio because, you know, Dallas was, you know, their spot, I guess. But San Antonio, they would always say, like, that's where the best crowds.
Arsenal. And those crowds are growing in the Alamo City. It's an eye-opening story I want you to see. KSAT Explains is coming up at 6:30.
But coming up after the break, preserving the heritage and legacy of Latino music. We're laying out the steps one Texas congressman is taking to ensure it is treated like a national treasure.
Let's take a look outside with live cam. Before we go to break here, Shelby is tracking that cold front that could bring the possibility of some storms for Easter weekend. She's going to time it all out for you when we come back.
A man hit by a car in a cul-de-sac, followed by a brawl. This is the latest of 8 calls to service by SAPD to the same home in less than 4 months. Tonight on the Night Beat, a neighbor speaking out about what he's calling a problem house in his neighborhood.
People have been waiting months to see how the city handles an accident-prone intersection. So coming up tonight on the Night Beat, we're on the west side and we're showing you the final results.
But first, every year since 2000, the National Library of Congress has picked influential songs and albums to be inducted into the National Recording Registry. U.S. Congressman Joaquin Castro made it to his mission the last few years to get more Latino artists included. And this year, 3 Latino inductees made the cut.
And 2 of the songs are pretty well known in San Antonio. Our Erica Hernandez spoke with Congressman Castro about the inductees and other music that he hopes makes the list in the coming years.
There are songs that have a special place in Latino culture, one of those being El Rey by Vicente Fernandez, and this South Texas classic.
Y estaré contigo cuando triste estar.
Freddie Fender's Before the Next Teardrop Falls. Both those songs, as well as the Hamilton album from Lin-Manuel Miranda, were inducted into this year's Library of Congress's National Recording Registry.
That was a special one for me, getting El Rey in there, because it's the ultimate mariachi song. There's so many South Texas singers, including Freddie Fender, who I feel like they've never gotten their due. They've never gotten the recognition and the honor that they deserve.
Those nominations rounded up by Congressman Joaquin Castro, who has requested input from his constituents.
Over the last 3 years, with the help of many San Antonians and others really throughout Texas and the country, we've submitted 30 combination of songs and albums for consideration and, have had some luck in getting some of those inducted.
According to Castro, the registry is only made up of 5% Latino artists. It's why he's been pushing for more to be included.
Well, I'd love to see more of Selena's work on there, for example. And then, I grew up with my mom and my dad, who were both baby boomers. And so they would listen to Joan Baez and, some of the other wonderful early Latino and Latina singers that made it big nationally. And then some San Antonians as well.
And soon he'll be seeking more requests for the nominations for 2026. And the nominations must be a song or album that's at least been out for 10 years.
Latinos in this country make up almost 20% of the population. So we have some catching up to do in acknowledging really the impact and the influence of these artists.
Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
All right, let's turn to the forecast now. We could be dealing with some rain at least part of the Easter weekend. Shelby.
Yes, that is correct. Some areas can see a little bit of some light drizzle tonight into tomorrow morning. We're already starting to see that rain pop up near San Angelo and Abilene. So it is still a ways away, but it will arrive into areas of South Texas starting tomorrow. Now, this is going to have some of these storms will be on the strong to severe side, having an impact to some campers. So here's what you need to know. Starting Saturday night, that's when we're going to want, especially you campers, to have a backup plan just in case some of these storms do become on the severe side, and especially if you're going out and about for sunrise service Sunday morning. Definitely going to want to have an indoor option because of these rain chances. But good news, lunchtime and after in the afternoon is going to be the best time for any Easter hunts, any family photos. The afternoon, we're going to see some sunshine return to the forecast, so it's going to be much better than Sunday morning. So here's the futurecast. We're going to continue to see a little bit of some light showers in areas of the hill country. We're talking about just to the north and west of Junction overnight tonight. Starting before sunrise, we can start to see some of them be regular thunderstorms, so you might hear some thunder, but then as that sun continues to rise, that's going to just transition to a light drizzle for areas of the hill country just to the north and west. Some of these drizzles can make its way into areas of San Antonio throughout your day tomorrow, but then tomorrow night, that's when that cold front comes through, and that's when we have the potential for some thunderstorms for us here in San Antonio. Now, starting right after midnight, Saturday night into Sunday morning, that cold front's going to arrive from the hill country, moving its way down, and this is going to form more of a squall line, basically just a straight line of some thunderstorms from Sunday, moving into areas of the hill country by around 5 o'clock. It could be in areas of Kerrville or Junction. Now, timing can still be a little off of the location, but it just shows that the storms will continue to weaken, but it still has the potential to impact areas of San Antonio right around 9 to 10 o'clock, having an impact for, once again, church service. But good news, that cold front continues to move out, leaving us with some clear skies for most of us for your Sunday afternoon. Now, this system's a part of a bigger system. We're not going to be getting all of the soaking rainfall. That's going to be in areas near Oklahoma City going up through Missouri near St. Louis. We are just going to get maybe half an inch at most in areas of the hill country near San Angelo or Junction, and that's all going to depend on where these heavier rain bands sit. In San Antonio, maybe about 1/4 of an inch of rain, but good news is more rain is on the way. But bad news is it's right up against Fiesta. We are tracking another system starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even going into next weekend, more chances of some much better soaking rainfall for us here in South Texas. But if you're going out and about this weekend, just keep that Weather Authority app handy.
And maybe an umbrella.
Maybe an umbrella.
All right. Thank you, Shelby.
Mary's back with sports. We talked about Greg Popovich and his medical issues earlier, but now we're talking about high school track and field.
Yes, high school track and field. Wonderful time of year. The UIL regional track and field meets underway today. Which area athletes punched their tickets to state? And Bucks star Damian Lillard diagnosed with the same condition as Victor Wembanyama. He received good news. We'll have more on that. Also more on Coach Pop's recent health scare. The UIL regional track and field meets are underway, and several area athletes today punching their tickets to state, including Lily Koenig, a junior at Smithson Valley who earned a first place finish in the girls 5A 3,200 meter run with a time of 10 minutes and 43.03 seconds. Bernie champion senior Charlie Hauk edged out Bernie's Aaron Garcia to win the boys 3,200 meter run for first with a time of 9 minutes, 25.32 seconds. Also, we saw Brennan senior Zachary Miller finish atop the 3,200 meter run for Class 6A with a time of 9 minutes, 3.79 seconds. All right, the next stop is states.
Feels so awesome. I'm just so grateful to have an opportunity to keep going in my season. I'm so grateful for my coaches and my teammates. I'm so grateful that Aubrey could be here with me. It feels really great.
State's been the goal all year. I just missed it last year. I got third in this race last year. So going into state, I'm really excited. It's gonna be a good time. We're gonna run some fast times.
The state track and field meet begins May 1st. The road to recovery and returning to the NBA sideline is growing more complicated for legendary Spurs head coach Greg Popovich after new details of a medical incident on Tuesday evening that ended with Coach Pop leaving a restaurant in an ambulance. Now, Popovich reportedly fainted while dining, but there's good news. Popovich is home, stable, and doing fine, according to ESPN's Shams Charania. Now, this all coming just months after the coaching icon battled a mild stroke in November, which kept him off of the sidelines for the rest of the season. We have more on this story on KSAT.com as we continue tracking Pop's health amidst a hopeful NBA return. The NBA play-in tournament continues tonight, getting us closer to the first round of the playoffs, which begins tomorrow. And we recently learned about Milwaukee Bucks guard Damian Lillard being cleared for full-scale basketball activities and being taken off blood thinning medication this week after missing the last month with deep vein thrombosis in his right calf. This news coming much sooner than anyone could have reasonably expected. It was reported that Dame started taking blood thinners before the clot was identified. Now, Spurs star Victor Wembanyama was diagnosed with the same condition, except in his shoulder. Lillard said doctors told him his case was unusual as the clot, quote, got smaller out of nowhere. Now, there is no timeline yet for Lillard's return with the Bucks playoff series looming, and there's no return date set for Wemby for that matter. But the expectation is Wemby will be ready to go next season. The San Antonio Missions now lead their series with Northwest Arkansas 2-1 thanks to a comeback win at the Wolf last night. Miami natives Romero Sanabria and Anthony Villar both had 2 home runs in the 6th inning to give San Antonio a 1-run lead. The Flying Chunkless broke a 4-4 tie in the bottom of the 8th inning thanks to a 2-run double from Kai Murphy. San Antonio would go on to win 7-4. We'll have more on the Flying Chunkless at 7. That's coming up on our streaming show, KSAT Sports Now, every weeknight at 7 o'clock on our streaming platforms.
All right. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we'll show you where all we found professional wrestling in San Antonio. It's a KSAT Explains, and you got to check this out after the break.
Welcome back. San Antonio is known for a lot of things, but professional wrestling isn't usually high on that list. At least not for those who have no idea what kind of wrestling world exists here.
Yeah, like me. I had no clue, but our KSAT Explains producer and a photojournalist came to me and said, hey, there is a story to tell here. And before you say maybe wrestling's not your thing, I hear you. but it's the people, it's the characters and the dreamers that I have met over the last several weeks that are the real story. Here's KSAT Explains. In a mall, a business park, or a backyard, these are some of the unexpected places you'll find a raucous wrestling scene in San Antonio.
This is 1003 McCauley, but on Fridays, once a month on Fridays, it's called The Yard, home of United 2-0.
And he is
David Campos Jr. That's my Monday through Friday name.
What's your weekend name?
My weekend name is Stud Stash.
Stud Stash.
Yeah.
Weekends are when the yard comes alive. You have hundreds of people in this backyard.
Yes. On average, we average about 250 to 300.
Campos, who's a Harlandale special education teacher, started wrestling in late 2018, 13 years after he served as a combat medic in Iraq.
I came back to total darkness.
What has wrestling given you to help you with that darkness, with that PTSD?
Wrestling's given me my life back. There's David Campos, the person, which, you know, he's been through everything, and the strength he has in him is, it's almost non-existent. But then there's Stud Stash, the wrestler, to where I could channel everything into that guy and just become so animated, become so alive, it's almost like a superhero. And that keeps me going, and I actually feed off that guy, off Stud Stash, the wrestler.
Finding that character, even if it's just an amplified version of themselves, is what so many of these local pro wrestlers feed off of, like Alex Arsenal.
You got 9 days left as the champ.
There's almost something you actually cannot replicate at the top, the biggest TV companies. It's sweaty, gritty, angry, and it's in your face.
And Calientita.
San Antonio has such a strong and passionate fan base, and they hate me here, but I know they love me, okay? They love to hate me.
Stud Stash and his team put on the shows and run their own wrestling promotion, United 2-1-0.
People just follow suit, follow in line with their chair, their cooler, chair, the cooler.
You think Stud Stash saved your life?
No, I don't think Stud Stash saved my life. I really think professional wrestling saved my life, and the community of the Southside saved my life.
I hope to go on and do bigger and better things, but this will, I think, always be one of the most special places I ever got to wrestle.
Going on to bigger and better from here.
This is Dog Pound Pro Wrestling Dojo.
Means learning from pros who've been there, like this husband and wife duo.
My name is Jazz, the female fighting phenom.
I am Red Dog Rodney Mack. I'm 54 years old and I've been wrestling about 45 years.
And you're still doing it?
Yes, ma'am.
They've been on the biggest stages on the planet.
I've wrestled in ECW, WWF, WWE, TNA, AEW.
It's all over the world, Africa, India.
WrestleMania 18, I went in as the WWF Women's Champion and I retained my title, which made me the first African-American woman to be able to do that.
Now, they coach the next generation, like these guys.
I am Santiago Medina, the lover boy.
I am Nathaniel Grayson, the king of darkness.
They come through us for polishing guys who do have that potential and talent, but just haven't been polished for TV, for pay-per-views.
And that's our main goal right now, just to help this younger talent to reach their goals, you know, because it's possible.
It is, but if I made it, anybody can make it.
This city is probably one of the hottest spots for wrestling, for sure.
Wrestling here in San Antonio is like what we refer to as ice cream.
There is so many different styles or flavors of wrestling.
There's lucha, there's just old school hardcore wrestling like ourselves, and you know, something for everyone.
It's flourishing, you know, and it's very broad, very wide.
It's even spread here into Rolling Oaks Mall.
Expect the unexpected and be prepared to be entertained. My name is Oscar Samarron. I am the owner, the promoter of Wrestling Shop Trademark and Collectibles.
In a store on the second floor of the mall.
We're right across from Hot Topic.
With wall-to-wall wrestling memorabilia and a ring right in the middle.
We have the WSP Heavyweight Champion and the WSP World Champion.
And that's this man.
Red Davis.
Red Davis.
Yes. The ultimate goal for me, of course, it's WWE. Let's go!
Once you step through those curtains, it's like you're a superhuman. With one strike, that's all it takes for me to beat someone.
Fans pack the wrestling shop for shows.
This is the independent. This is the indies. This is where it all starts. There's something about it. It's the stories, just that larger-than-life characters.
Refining that character. This is your ring?
Yes, ma'am, this is my ring.
Is what Casey Blackrose is all about.
That's my name, that's my character, the modern-day backbreaker.
He's a graduate and now trainer at the Hybrid School of Wrestling.
I take pride in being probably the #1 guy here.
At what's largely considered the #1 wrestling school in San Antonio.
We have champions all over Texas, all over the United States. We work with the top promotions of San Antonio.
Like RCW, River City Wrestling.
I have RCW and I've been running it for 23 years. 10 years ago, the promotions did not work together at all in San Antonio. I mean, it was all out war, basically. There's more camaraderie than there was in the past.
We first got to RCW, we had never worked at a promotion that felt like a family.
And they are family. The Von Erich brothers, a family name that carries generational pro wrestling fame.
We kind of feel like it's probably the last form of Shakespeare in a way, just because it's live and there's one take.
Ross and Marshall Von Erich have worked with both Hybrid and RCW.
You know, Dad always spoke so highly of San Antonio because it's like families. It's huge families. They bring their kids, their mom, their dad. It's a family event, and that's what Von Erich's all about. You know, we're about the families and stuff. And so once we experienced it ourselves, it was like, okay, there's
Game
something
over.
different.
Yeah, we're coming here.
How would you describe the wrestling scene in San Antonio?
The wrestling scene in San Antonio, that heartbeat is bumping so loud, so hard, so fast. It's alive and well.
I would say it's hot, but it's growing, and it's like
it's building up.
I want to prove people wrong that anything you told me I couldn't do at a younger age, here I am.
If you are here in San Antonio, don't let this be something that you see on Netflix and TNT. This is something that you can get into right now today.
I feel like wrestling is becoming cool again. We really do. We really feel like that. It is.
I had a great conversation with Ross and Marshall Von Erich, and I want you to be able to see that. You can watch the full interview with the Von Erich brothers on our website right now at KSAT.com. Just scan the QR code you see here on your screen. That'll take you right to it. That's where you can also find links to the wrestling schools, the trainers, and the pros that we featured in this story. We'll be right back. Let's take a look outside with live cam, headed toward an Easter weekend, and we've got some clouds rolling in right now, it looks like, Shelby.
We do, but we can see a little bit of the sun trying to peep through the upper level of cloud coverage, but we will continue to see the clouds stick around at least throughout the next few days. Temperatures tomorrow warming up to those 80s, but patchy drizzle in the morning, followed by some thunderstorms in the evening into Sunday morning. But I'll have the time and track of the impacts from this system, plus a look ahead at the rainfall we can expect during Fiesta coming up after the break.
Big Easter weekend for us here in San Antonio, and we do have some rain chances that we cannot ignore, Shelby.
I know a lot of people want to ignore it, especially with it being the holiday weekend and extended weekend, but we sadly can't, especially because some of these storms can produce some hail and some wind and be on the stronger side. But not only that, some of these storms also, depending on where they hit, have heavier downpours, having a chance of some isolated flooding. That's not really the big impact. The main impacts we can expect this weekend for us here in San Antonio is going to be that hail and that wind threat. Hail can be on the larger side and wind gusts can be up to about 50 miles per hour, but we'll keep you posted as this continues over the next few days. But this weekend, if you are going out camping, remember, there is that possibility of some damaging winds and that hail, so you're going to want to be able to have a chance to get somewhere have a secure location that you can use as a shelter, as this is going to be Saturday night into Sunday morning, like I showed you earlier in the show for the time and track of that. But after that cold front comes through, temperature Sunday morning, most of the areas in the hill country specifically can be waking up in those 50s. So it's going to feel very much more winter-like and less spring, almost summer-like. But in the afternoon, we do start to clear out, temperatures warming up into those 70s. And that's not the only chance of rain. Now, this is for the rainfall we can expect over the next week. That does include this weekend system, and it does include the chances of some rain showers over Fiesta. Now, in San Antonio, we can expect maybe 1.5 inches of rain. Areas just to the west and to the north in the hill country, that's where you see some of the heavier bands this weekend that can produce up to 2 or more inches of rain. Now, like I mentioned, we do have the chances of rain this weekend, but we're also tracking another low pressure system arriving Tuesday and continuing throughout Thursday and even getting into Friday. Now, it is still a week away, so things can slightly change and probably will, but it all starts once again with another low pressure system. We've seen multiple systems after systems arrive in areas of South Texas. Now, that one arriving off the Pacific Northwest on Monday into Tuesday, that's going to go just to the northern part of the country, having a chance of some rain and some snow for areas near the Great Lakes. But with that, that's going to bring in some extra moisture throughout the central portion of the country, and we also then proceed to have another low pressure system arrive, having a chance for the wraparound moisture to just get built. Most of it's going to be just to the north of us, but there is a chance of some isolated showers, maybe a rumble of thunder Tuesday night into Wednesday. Once again, East Texas is going to see what we've been seeing multiple times this year, where they're going to get more of the rain than us. But then we get into Thursday, the first day of Fiesta. All of that moisture is still going to be brought up from the Gulf, as we're going to continue to have a southerly wind. And then with that and the next low pressure system arriving Thursday night, there is that potential for some stronger thunderstorms, mostly up closer to the Metroplex, getting into the Oklahoma near the Red River, but still a potential near the Rio Grande Valley, having a chance of some thunderstorms. This is going to be Thursday night into Friday morning, still having a chance to impact the Fiesta festivities, but then that low pressure system continues to push most of that moisture out of our area as we get into Friday and Saturday. So there is still that chance for some rain showers, not only this weekend, but next week, and temperatures staying in those 80s. So even if it's going to feel like we're going to be in those 80s, it's also going to be muggy with the rain chances. But then Saturday is going to seem similar to Monday, where we finally get a day of some peace and quiet of the weather.
All right. Thank you, Shelby.
Well, before the break, check out what's coming on tonight after the news. Shark Tank is on at 7, followed by 2020, and it's the Night Beat at 10. We'll be right back.
We are just a few minutes away now from 7 o'clock. That is when we start our KSAT streaming show, KSAT Sports Now. Mary Rominger standing by in the newsroom with a look at what is ahead tonight. Hey, Mary.
Hey, yeah. Part 2 of our interview with Brahma's interim head coach Peyton Pardee is coming up tonight on KSAT Sports Now. Pardee reacting to the fun fact that he is now the youngest head coach in pro football history at age 28. Also, a preview of Olu's softball quest to defend their NAIA National Championship. They've had an up and down season, but they have some magic in that program. Can't wait to see what unfolds in the postseason. We also have the story of one Johnson softball player, the Jags ace, that instead of playing college softball, earned a Division I bowling scholarship at Western Illinois. It's a really cool story. And we'll also have more on the Missions, more on their upcoming series, and more from their owners as they talk about that new downtown ballpark. That's all coming up.
Western Illinois, bowling powerhouse, what I hear.
We'll be right back.
It's an Easter tradition, making sure that rivers like this stay clean in San Antonio. Coming up tomorrow morning on GMSA, we're taking a look at how you can help your environment.
And we're still sitting below our aquifer levels. We are getting close to some of the lowest levels we've seen since 1957. So any rain we receive this week is definitely going to be good rain, not only this weekend, but also the chances of rain Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it just continues. However, it does have a chance to put a damper on Fiesta festivities on Thursday.
We will keep watching it. Thanks, Shelby. And thank you for watching the news at 6.
We'll see you on the night beat.